Welcome back, wrestling fans. This is WestWord Wrestling. We are the word on wrestling in Western Canada. I'm your host, Danni Deeds, giving you the information rundown for the week, the champs, promotions, and upcoming events. We like to put it up every Sunday for you in a black and white written manner on social media. And of course, we do that Monday to Thursday as well with other information such as upcoming shows for the weekend and the upcoming month, so you can plan ahead, get yourselves to wrestling, and support independent wrestling happening in a town near you. But of course, tonight it is a Monday night. Forbidden Door was last night for AEW out in Toronto. They had Defy versus Progress. And then, of course, tonight, Monday Night Raw. That's over and wrapped up with now. We're going to get down to giving you the rundown. You saw yesterday on social media, but I might embellish a little bit. Not so much embellish, but more get into a little bit more detail, right? Because that's what the idea. If we're going to have a podcast, we're going to draw it out more than just a few minutes, but there's a lot of information. There's nearly 30 different companies running between 3 provinces, let alone the rest of Canada if we ever get into delving down that far east. And the concept here of just rattling off everybody seems, it might seem unique, and to do it every week might seem like a bit overkill, but I don't think so. I believe in wrestling. I believe in the point is that as performers, we should be enjoying it. We should be interacting and utilizing social media for what it's for. I have knowledge to give. I love organizing in my own life. I want to provide that information in a platform that's going to work, just so you all know. You know what's out there. You can go love wrestling the way I've always loved wrestling, and most of it's needing to know where and when and who's who. Even if you don't get everything that's happening, if you know who the champions are, or where you can go find a show, or what the name of a promotion near you might be. Like, do you know that there's upwards of 15 promotions running in the last 2 to 3 years in British Columbia? There's 10 active right now in Alberta, and then they've got 3 in Saskatchewan, as well as Canadian Wrestling's Elite that comes in from Manitoba. AEW's coming in to Alberta and Saskatchewan in July, and then WWE is going to be doing a tour through Canada as well this summer. So that's on top of your regular indie events that are going on regularly, and all of these different promotions in all of they're not even territories anymore. They're just... everything is so great for wrestling right now. Every product has its own unique view, and that's the best thing. There's a lot of pieces of the pie to choose from, and hopefully you're all getting a great fill of it all. And hopefully this information's helpful to you. We have other interview segments that, of course, we just started airing. Scarlett Black this last weekend. She's pregnant. She's due any moment. As of this Monday night here, a couple days after our due date drop interview that we did a few days ago, still no baby. However, we'll inform you of that as we go along. We're going to be having some other interviews coming up, other little mini-sodes and audio segments. Our information, of course, is available online at WestWord Wrestling on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and at WestWord Wrestle on Twitter. We've got a Podbean account that's up there, which is kind of like its own Spotify and things. And we're going to be uploading to other platforms for streaming our podcast segments shortly. But I'm only human and one person right now, and I'm just kind of doing as much as I can. We're going to get to those other platforms, so we appreciate your patience. But you can listen to the audio cast on YouTube now. We've been putting those up for you, so you'll be able to stay in touch, including this one as well. And of course, the idea here, we're just going to give you all the information, all the rundown. It's a long-winded rant, and you know how many takes I do of these just to try to get all the names and everything right. But you know what? This one's just going to go, because at the end of the day, I'm here for a good reason, and that's to give you info about wrestling near you. Starting in British Columbia, Thrash Wrestling. Their champion is Backstage Pass Braden Goss. Their BC Interior champion is Rhea Von Slasher. And their tag team champions are the Enterprise, One Stiff Drink Justin Sider, and Exceptional Charlie Joseph. And last but not least, the Armstrong Metal Fest champion, who will be defending his title in a no disqualification match on July 15th at Armstrong Metal Fest. The champion's name is Cope. Now, before that, Thrash will be back in action at Westside Days, a community event in West Kelowna on Saturday, July 8th, with shows starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's newcomers, Battle Wasp, Gambler, Rex Rothschild, some familiar faces such as yours truly, Danni Deeds, Top Drawer Michael Moore, Sean Gaston, probably a few surprise appearances as well. That's on July 8th. And then the following Friday, they're back at it in Penticton with Rope Burn at the Luso. And they'll be featuring a fatal four-way for the Thrash Wrestling title. Rose is coming back, and she's taking on Rhea Von Slasher, myself, and Jordy Taylor. I'm not even going to get into that guy. One-on-one grudge match, BJ Laredo and Cope, and they just announced earlier today as well, one half of the tag team champions, Charlie Joseph, taking on Michael Moore. And that's your card for you, giving you a rundown of July 14th. You can get tickets for those events, and they'll be announcing some other dates coming up shortly. We have some September dates that we're going to be announcing on Thursday to give you a sneak peek at British Columbia, including some dates that have not yet been announced by promotion. So stay tuned for that. Almost a little exclusive here because we want to give you some early access to plan ahead and catch some shows that are coming up this fall. Up next, WrestleCore will be back in action on July 29th. They're going to be at the Russell and Roots Concert Series taking place in Surrey, British Columbia. WrestleMania is how this is going to go down. WrestleMania, you never know what you can expect from WrestleCore. It is always something creative, always hard-hitting, always action-packed, and you're going to get your fill of something great happening around an awesome line of bands and music around you. Like, it's festival season, and wrestling and music and drinking and summertime all just go hand in hand. Go check it out. Russell and Roots Concert Series, July 29th in Surrey. And then, of course, their annual event, 2 days, August 5th and the 6th at the Waldorf. We're talking Lucha Libre Spectacular. International stars from all over the place. They all come together for wrestling action and music and celebration and vendors. And it's a weekend you're not going to want to miss. August 5th and 6th, WrestleCore. Get your tickets now. Their Infinity Champion is God's gift to wrestling, Michael Richard Blaze. 365 Pro Wrestling will be back at it this Saturday with a special Canada Day show in Campbell River, followed by a return to the White Eagle Polish Hall on July 21st in Victoria. Their champion is third-generation star Devin Shooter. Their combat champion is Eli Surge. Their women's champion is the Wilted Thorn Rose. And their newly crowned tag team champions, just as of a couple weekends ago, is Ela Tribe. Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling also crowned 2 new champions this past weekend. And boy, what a mix-up, what a shake-up, what a crazy happening this last weekend in Victoria and Nanaimo for VIPW. But at the end of it all, when the smoke cleared, Mr. Beefy Goodness Vance Nevada is your new heavyweight champion, dethroning Rhea Von Slasher. And after probably the longest reign in the history of the Anarchy Rules Championship, BJ Laredo fell victim to the moment of truth, and the moment taker, Jordy Taylor, is your new Anarchy Rules champion. And apparently he's going to rename it the Tradition Rules Championship. And we'll keep you informed of that in the near future. Your tag team champions are the Hillbilly Hound Dog, Draco, and Scotty Mack. And on July 21st, VIPW will be back in Port Alberni. Following night, 22nd in Duncan, viprowrestling.ca is where you can find tickets and information for Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling. The only mainland wrestling show of the week is coming up June 30th at the Boombox. We're talking the Legion on Commercial in Vancouver. Boom Pro Wrestling wraps up another stellar event. I'm already stumbling my words. Their season was amazing. Sellouts across the board. They give you the recaps afterwards so you can follow along and see what's going on. I can't wait to see what happens. This is the biggest one. They've literally named the event the biggest one based on the fact that that's what it is. It's a season closer. Go back, watch the recaps on their media. I'm stumbling. I'm so excitable about it. It's wrestling. It's this Friday night, June 30th. It's already sold out, but if you're there, if you know, as they say. And I'm sure they're going to be releasing information soon about Season 2, and we will keep you informed of anything that we hear along the way as well. Check them out, Boom Pro Wrestling. Heading back into the Okanagan area, Big West Wrestling continues to be dominated by their longest reigning champ in history for them. Beyond the television title reigns and any other reigns before, the internet champion is Rick Jules. But hot on his heels likely is a man familiar with holding gold in Big West Wrestling, and he's the holder of the K5 medallion, which grants him a title match really at any given time of his choosing. I'm talking about Shreds. And hot on his heels, I would say, because of his accolades continuing, the way he's come up and the way he's progressing, the 2023 Okanagan Cup winner and the Rutland Rumble winner, the prodigy Sean Murphy, has to be acknowledged in this conversation. Their next event is coming up on July 22nd, and it is going to be a private event, but they are going to be doing a paid live stream event on social media, so you can go to their accounts and see what that's going to be all about. And then they'll be back at the Enderby Drill Hall in August on the 18th. Nation Extreme Wrestling will be back in Vancouver at the Pearl on Granville Saturday, July the 8th. Their champions, respectively, are Mr. Ferguson and Nicole Matthews, and their tag team champions are Reloaded, Jackie Lee, and Sharif Moreau. A full card has already been posted, and we know for certain that Mr. Ferguson has laid out an open challenge, and knowing the depth and range that New has gone for talent to bring in international stars for pretty much anywhere that you can imagine, it's going to be very exciting to see who Mr. Ferguson... Well, he might have bitten off more than he can chew, is all I'm going to say. That's Saturday, July 8th in Vancouver at the Pearl on Granville. NationExtremeWrestling.com is where you can find tickets and info for that show. All Star Wrestling will be making a special appearance at Gone Country in Surrey on July 22nd. It's a cancer fundraiser, and then they're going to be back in Abbotsford making their debut at the Agra Fair, doing multiple shows over 3 days, August 4th, 5th, and 6th, the BC Day-long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Their heavyweight champion is Abbotsford's own Mighty Lacombo. Their women's champion, the Fallen Flower Kikyo. Their tag team champions are the Bollywood Boys. And the Pacific Cup winner for 2023 is the prodigy Sean Murphy. Now, after Abbotsford and after Surrey at the fundraiser, they're going to be back in Vancouver September 23rd, and then back at the Abbey Arts Center edition on September the 30th. Glam Slam, one of the craziest, most outlandish wrestling shows you'll ever be a part of experiencing. And I can say so because, by God, it's amazing to go there and watch this. The creativity, the pageantry, the burlesque, the dancing, the wrestling, the characters, I'm getting off track, but you have to see it to believe it is what I'm saying. Glam Slam or Glam Slam TV on Twitter. Check them out. They'll be back September 16th at the Wise Hall in Vancouver. Their anniversary champion is Liza Hall. Primetime Wrestling will be back this September for 2 nights in Prince George, September 8th and the 9th. Their heavyweight champion is Mr. Beefy Goodness Vance Nevada, and their Northwestern champion is Backstage Pass Braden Goss. Additionally, we'd like to note that there are other promotions that are running intermittently. They'll pop up from time to time. Some of them have champions, some of them don't. But because they're not active with information currently, we're not including them in these lists, but you can go check them out. We'll put them back on here when there's more activity rumbling around. Dusk Pro, Slam Loops, Loft Country Events, Pacific Pro Wrestling Canada, and Monster Pro Wrestling Caribou County. And of course, go check out all the individual promotions for all the information on what's happening in British Columbia. I'm going to move us over to Alberta. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's happening in Alberta and Saskatchewan for their champs as well as their upcoming events. I can't, however, provide the same amount of card and context just yet to all of the happenings. I'm getting there. BC's been the focus. I'm going to get a lot more information as we go along. We're going to include that for you. But just giving you a bit of a rundown now, top to bottom. Can-Am Wrestling, their Stu Hart Memorial Heavyweight Champion is Bobby Sharp. The tag team champions are Beast Around Jude Dawkins and Travis Cole. The women's champion is Relentless Riley Rose. Their junior heavyweight champion is Mr. Beefy Goodness Vance Nevada. And their community chaos champion is Dean Holstein. They have their next event coming up on Saturday, July 1st, in Sundre. Real Canadian Wrestling has their heavyweight champion in Mitch Clark. North American champion is Nasty Nate Nixon. The British Commonwealth champion is Johnny Devine. The new Alberta Heritage champion is Septimo Dragon. The international tag team champions are Steve Wild and Steven Styles. Their tag team champions are the Rads, Larry Woods and Rich King. Their new women's champion is La Tirana. And hardcore champion is Steve Wild. Up next for them, a Canada Day event, I can't speak today, July 1st, this Saturday in Edmonton. Love Wrestling will be back with 2 shows this week. Thursday night battling the Clandestine Society, and then again on Friday, June 30th, both shows taking place in Edmonton. Their grand champion, Zoe Sager, their challenge champions, Son of Irish, and their tag team champions, Paralira, Sheikh Shabazz, and Bharat Garani. And of course, their scramble champion is Jack Pride. Pure Power Wrestling will be in Raymond this Saturday, July 1st. Their heavyweight champion is Kyle Sebastian, and their Western Canadian champion is Dewey Robson. Wild Rose Sports Association will be taking part in the MexiFest event coming up in Calgary alongside RCW, Nambert Manor, and a variety of great sponsors July 7th, 8th, and 9th in Calgary. You can check out MexiFest's social media for more information. Wild Rose Sports Association will be taking part in that event, and then they'll also be back in Red Deer, kicking off a 3-day event tour in Red Deer on August 17th, just to make sure that I said that, because I might have, but I didn't go back to double check if I said it again, because no edits, right? We talked about that. Their heavyweight champion, Cody Mack. Their mid-heavyweight champion is Dalton Rouge. Their cruiserweight champion, Davey Disaster. Their tag team champions, The Prophets, Rhino Reynolds and Chris Castles. And I know right now that Steven Styles and Steve Wild have stolen these championships, and my understanding is there's going to be some kind of showdown very soon, but there's a little bit of controversy there. So I'm pointing it out because you may see on social media somebody else with these particular championships, but to clarify, the Prophets are your champions. The women's champion is Kat Von Hees. The hardcore champion is Wrath. Top Talent Wrestling will be back in Edmonton on August 12th, featuring Effie. Their Top Talent champion is Ava Lawless, and their guaranteed title shot contract holder is Mitch Clark. Monster Pro Wrestling will be back in Edmonton on July the 7th. Their heavyweight champion is Blake Cannon. The provincial champion is Massive Damage. The tag team champions are the Wild Boys, Tarzan Hayes and Massive Damage, and the women's champion is the Matriarch, and of course the Leo Burke Cup winner for 2023 is Bobby Break. Dungeon Wrestling will be back in Calgary on July the 8th. The Stu Hart Heritage champion is Nick Aldis, and the Dungeon Wrestling Tag Team champions are the Billington Bulldogs. Currently, Wrestling Rodeo and Big Vision Wrestling have not announced dates in Alberta, but once they have more information, we will get that to you. And of the two, Big Vision Wrestling, their champion is Harlan Abbott. And of course, I would like to note, as I did with Wild Rose Sports Association, MexiFest is running in Calgary. It's a collab event on July 7th, 8th, and 9th. And All Elite Wrestling will be in Edmonton on July the 5th and in Calgary on July 15th. And WWE will also be returning this August. Stay tuned for more details on that Calgary. And we are going to shift over to Saskatchewan now before I wrap it up for the week, and we let you get on with your Monday evening. Ringside Wrestling, their North American champion is Levi Knight. Their international tag team champions are Moses Luke and Joey Vendetta. They are back in Regina on July the 7th. Prairie Pro Wrestling's heavyweight champion is Sheikh Shabazz, and they will be returning this August to Saskatchewan. And Saskatoon, more specifically, my understanding is, we'll give you that final date and details once they've released it. But pay close attention to their social media. They've been releasing some matches lately that you may not have seen before, in preparation and hype for their return this August. And Best Entertainment Wrestling BEW. Their national champion is Jeremy Prophet. The Y Division champion is Sean Moore. The national tag team champions are the Tattoo Terminators, Massive Damage and Wrath. And the national women's champion is Kat Von Hees. The interprovincial women's champion, Relentless Riley Rose. And they will be in North Battleford, Saskatchewan on July the 14th. You can also catch Canadian Wrestling's Elite in Saskatchewan, doing a variety of different dates, July 14th and 15th and 16th. 3 days of CWE action in Craven. And then you've got 5 days at the end of July there. Weyburn on the 25th, Prince Albert the 26th, Saskatoon the 27th, Yorkton the 28th, and Regina on July the 29th. And an appearance, they haven't announced it yet, Cote, Saskatchewan, August 17th, they will be back. And All Elite Wrestling is also coming to use Saskatchewan. It's been a long day. It's been one take. My voice is dry. July 8th in Regina, July 12th in Saskatoon. And that wraps it up for your rundown. It's a big list. And if you have more info, you have more updated info, you have questions that I can't answer, don't ask me, go ask them. No. In the end, if you have something that we can do to help you along the way about wrestling, provide you direction, and you can't find it on social media, reach out to us. westwordwrestling@gmail.com. Follow along, like, share, subscribe. Do all the things so you can stay informed day after day. Sunday to Thursday, we run new content. Surprise you once in a while on a Friday or Saturday with something new. But at the end of the day, you get your dates, you get your events, you get your champs. These weekly rundowns are audio. Till the next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy wrestling.